It is very well known that the 747 is one of the most successful and iconic commercial airliners ever built. Since its rollout in 1968, over 1,500 747s have been made, with almost a third of them still in service today. However, as the landscape of the commercial aviation industry has changed, the 747, especially in the most recent decade, has begun to really rapidly disappear. So why, in 2011, did Boeing roll out with one last variant, the 747-8? Stay tuned, and if you haven't subscribed already, your support would be greatly appreciated. To find out why Boeing made the 747-8, it's essential first to understand the state of commercial aviation in the early 2000s, and more importantly, the fact that the 747-8 was not Boeing's main project. Boeing was aware in advance that large four-engined airliners like the 747, despite their success in the early decades, would not go on to define the future of the industry. Rather than becoming bigger or faster, the next generation of aircraft would be more focused on range, fuel efficiency, and reduced environmental impact. They were the big three underlying points for the future of aircraft. Therefore, Boeing focused much of its resources on developing a cutting-edge plane that would meet all of these needs and beat its competitor Airbus to the punch. That airliner was the 787 Dreamliner. So then, why would Boeing bother with the 747 program at all, with its future in serious doubt? The answer is the Airbus A380. In contrast to Boeing, Airbus's main project was not focused on range, fuel efficiency, and environmental impact. Instead, they had a different vision for the future of the industry. An airliner, even bigger than the 747, would outcompete it, prove the company's engineering prowess, and cement it as a serious competitor to the then sole titan of the industry, Boeing. You could see how this would be a matter of concern for American aircraft manufacturer Boeing, as even though they may not have foreseen the wild success and massive threat that Airbus would become in the later decades, they still would not want to leave any space in the market open up for grabs. Moreover, the sheer optics of the massive A380, which made even the already large 747-400 look small by comparison, drove home the need for some competitive offering to Boeing. However, Boeing would still not turn its focus away from the 787, which not only had sunk massive amounts of research and development into it, but also knew would be the future of air travel. Being a clean sheet design, there was a lot of investment, research, torque, and manpower that went into creating the 787, more so than, say, another aircraft. So Boeing's most economically viable option seemed to be to upgrade the 747 platforms. In 2005, Boeing launched the 747-8 program, and the new aircraft would be really not so new. Besides new wings, which were borrowed from the 787, and new engines, the 747-8 was nothing more than a stretched version of its predecessors. However, this longer fuselage did mean for a larger capacity, and the new wings and engines meant for better range and fuel efficiency, which at the very least is ticking off some of the boxes that potential customers may be looking for in a new aircraft. Although this new 747 variant would still fall short of the A380 in total passenger capacity, wingspan, and even overall weight, the 747-8 would be the longest airliner at 250 feet or 76.2 meters, and the fastest, with a top speed of an impressive Mach 0.86. Overall, its similarity to the previous 747 variants made developing the 747-8 much cheaper and also more accessible than designing a brand new jumbo jet from the ground up. And as you can imagine, with the American aircraft manufacturer pouring all its resources into what it believed was the next generation of aircraft, the 787, there was not necessarily resources left over or a viable reason for them to be pouring even more into a new double-decker aircraft. This is in contrast to the A380, where the absurd size made it a costly engineering and also construction challenge for Airbus themselves. In this way for Boeing, developing the 747-8 was a smart business strategy. While the 747-8 couldn't precisely stand toe-to-toe with the A380, it would at the very least be an obstacle in its path to dominating the super jumbo market, at least what was left of it at this point, and one that would cost Boeing relatively little in time and money. With this, Boeing could safely compete with Airbus's new flagship airliner, while not slowing down the momentum of the 787 programs, which again, to reiterate, the 787 program was what they believed was the future. And in contrast to Airbus, maybe Boeing did predict the future of aviation a little bit better at the time than Airbus, who again believed that this new super jumbo was the way forward, not so much the 787. Of course, they would be proved incorrect, and then Airbus were the ones that were up against it, trying to curate an aircraft that would perfectly compete with the 787 and take away some market share, although that is most definitely a story for another day. While somewhat unsurprisingly, the 747-8 Intercontinental, more colloquially known as the passenger variant, received very little interest, garnering only 48 total orders from just a handful of airlines. The 747-8F, or the freighter variant, saw much more success, with over double the orders of its passenger-carrying sibling. It can be said that the 747-8 freighter did really keep the program from being considered a complete failure, and to this day, it's the only reason why production has continued, with the 747-8 Intercontinental, again the passenger variant's production, having ceased a time ago. The success of the 747-8 freighter can be attributed to the fact that unlike in the passenger airliner market, the air cargo market was clear of any potential competition in the super jumbo sector that Boeing would have to outdo. Because of this, the 747-8 freighter would be the only freighter airliner in the entire cargo industry with its capacity and range. This came especially as Airbus did not move forward with their A380F, which actually, interestingly enough, did attract interest and orders from some customers around the globe, although nothing fabricated, and they would later cancel this part of the program. So for Boeing, they were largely uncontested in this market, and especially in this time, Airbus definitely didn't have as great of an impact on the freighter market, and for most cargo companies, their first choice of aircraft would likely be at Boeing, and you could argue still to this day in 2022, that remains true. Boeing's freighter offering far outweighs that of Airbus's. However, even the orders for the freighter variant couldn't keep the program going forever. As a result, Boeing is saying goodbye to the 747 program, making the end of over a 50-year program and one of the most iconic to ever grace the skies. But with the 747-8's modernization, the legendary airliner's future time in the skies has been significantly increased. But is that still enough to call it a success, or was Boeing wrong to decide to build it in the first place? Now that's over to you. What are your thoughts on the questions posed? Please do let us know down below in the comments. We greatly appreciate your support here on GlobeTrotting if you did enjoy this analysis coverage on the purpose of the 747-8, why it was built, and much more. Do be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your festive and holiday season. We hope you stay safe and are enjoying your time with family and friends. Take care, and we will see you next time.